Hi my dear friends, and welcome back to another Star Wars news update. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at a big rumour for the Book of Boba Fett and more. As always my dear friends, before we dive into it, please be sure to hit that big red subscribe button if you've not done so. We're so close to 70,000 subscribers. Also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post new videos. So without much further ado and without any more jibber jabber, let's dive straight into it. So we're going to start with a wild rumour for the Book of Boba Fett. So this is from Fandom Wire, and they're making the claim that Pedro Pascal's character Din Djarin, as well as Grogu, are going to appear in the Book of Boba Fett. Not just for one episode, but for several. There's also mention of Luke Skywalker, who might also be making an appearance. Now, I will preface this by saying you need to take it with a huge pinch of salt. It is just a rumour, but definitely worth talking about, especially since we've had a lot of reports of Grogu appearing in the Book of Boba. And even on the production crew shirts for the show, we see Grogu. So let's dive straight into the article guys, and then we're going to discuss it. So grab your beverage of preference and let's get into it. The article starts by saying that fans were elated to see Boba Fett return in season 2 of The Mandalorian. Last we saw Boba Fett, he helped Mando to get Grogu back, and then the youngling went off with Luke Skywalker. Then Boba Fett and Ming-Na Wen's character Fennec Shand went to Tatooine to take over Jabba's palace, kill Bib Fortuna and take his throne. The Book of Boba Fett series, while a spin-off of The Mandalorian, was expected to show us what happened to Boba Fett prior to the series, and where he'd be off to next. Well, we've learnt that while the show will in fact start with that fateful Sarlacc Pit and Boba's escape, the spin-off series will quickly turn back into season 2.5 of The Mandalorian. So much so that two fan favourite characters will be returning. And so this is where we get into the meat and potatoes of the article. Our sources within Lucasfilm have confirmed that Din Djarin will be part of the Book of Boba Fett, and that Grogu will also appear. It seems both the characters inside the show as well as the powers that be at Disney know how important Mando and Baby Yoda are. They were reportedly worried about letting Boba do his own thing for too long. And I am going to come back to this because I have major issues with it. Both Pedro Pascal and Baby Yoda were on set for multiple episodes at the end of the series, and we're told it wasn't just for some flashback scenes. The Book of Boba Fett will answer where Grogu went and share some of his Jedi training. Now, admittedly guys, this would be awesome. As cool as those scenes could be, I'm just surprised to hear that they're bringing Grogu back so soon from his Luke Skywalker training. However, we don't know if he goes back for more training later. The separation from Grogu at the end of season 2 set up such a well-earned, emotional moment for Mando. I expected Favreau to keep them apart for a season or two at least, to truly earn the return of a more powerful Baby Yoda. But one cannot deny the global love of that character, and Disney's even greater love of selling more merchandise. So essentially guys, that's the article, so let's talk about it. Now the big issue I have right off the bat is when they say that Lucasfilm did not want to let Boba do his own thing for too long. The reason I call BS on this is that Dave Filoni and Robert Rodriguez know how huge of a character Boba Fett is, and how much of his life after episode 6 and before Mando still needs to be told. I truly doubt they would have issues showing too much Boba, since the show is literally titled The Book of Boba Fett. It's literally named after him. As I say guys, we must always question the validity of sources, and to be honest, I'm going to give this one a miss. While I do agree that Mando and Grogu could appear, the wording in this article makes it very unrealistic. Now, if we are going to see Grogu training in a Boba Fett oriented show, it heavily implies that we are going to see Luke as well. And if Luke shows up, then Boba is going to interact with him, and given their history in Return of the Jedi and the War of the Bounty Hunters, this will be very interesting to say the least. But considering the Book of Boba Fett is all killer and no thriller, as Robert Rodriguez says, they're not going to want to dwell on that storyline in a limited series for so long. Especially when they're probably painting Boba as something of an honourable anti-hero and not a villain. Even if we do see Luke, there would be tension, and as an audience, most of us are not going to be against Luke. But on the subject of Grogu, he is definitely a possibility. The same goes for Pedro Pascal's Mando, but probably not Luke. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think we might see Luke, Grogu and Mando in the Book of Boba Fett? Why so or why not? So now my dear friends, we're going to move on and talk about Hera Syndulla. Big spoilers for The Bad Batch episode 11, so if you've not seen it yet, turn away now. Now when it comes to Hera Syndulla, she seems to be on the radar of Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau. Before Rangers of the New Republic was cancelled, or rather shelved, we did have a lot of teasers that she would be appearing in the Mandalorian universe. She still could and probably will, either in the Book of Boba Fett, Ahsoka, or The Mandalorian Season 3. We also just saw her in the Bad Batch episode 11 and she interacted with Omega. It truly feels like they're setting up a big return for Hera in live action that will tie into the Bad Batch and Rebels as well. So let's now take a look at this article, who will play Hera Syndulla in her inevitable live action debut. Hera's return to the Star Wars universe in this Ryloth-centric episode was a huge treat for Rebels fans, and seemingly setting up a lot more of the Ghost Ship pilot in the future. It's obvious that Bad Batch creator and Mandalorian executive producer Dave Filoni is introducing an ever-increasing number of animated characters into the live-action Star Wars canon. During The Mandalorian Season 2, for example, we saw Ahsoka Tano make her live-action debut through Rosario Dawson, and with Ezra Bridger and Grand Admiral Thrawn set to return in the Star Wars Ahsoka series, it would only make sense to add Hera Syndulla to that list as well. And if this is the case, Star Wars fans can't wait. In fact, some of them have been taking to social media to share their thoughts about who should play her in live action. Some options offered up on social media are Dominique Tipper, Alexis Ned, and someone even put Angelina Jolie, although I disagree with this one. Ultimately, what episode 11 of The Bad Batch tried to do was tie in Hera's story to that of The Bad Batch, specifically Omega. As we saw, the seeds of a potential friendship were sown, and this could show that Omega later on in the timeline will come across Hera. Numerous times now I've spoken about the potential link between Omega, Boba Fett, Ahsoka, and now in this case, Hera. In many ways, Omega is going to be the next Ahsoka Tano of the Star Wars universe. She starts out in animated form as a young girl, and later on in the timeline she's going to be very important. But what do you guys think? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. So finally guys, we have some action figure reveals, and it seems as though Dave Filoni is getting his own Black Series figure for the character he played in The Mandalorian Season 2, the New Republic fighter, Trapper Wolf. I'm a huge fan of the Star Wars Black Series, although I will admit his face looks very funny in this rendition. But I absolutely love Dave Filoni and I will be picking this one up. They're also releasing a really cool Cantina showdown scene, and this is the Power of the Force series. I used to really love this series because they did unconventional characters that most people just forget about. I love the main protagonists and villains, but sometimes you want some deep cuts of Star Wars characters. In this case, we have Old Ben Kenobi, Ponda Baba, and Dr. Evazan. So anyway, my dear friends, that brings us to the end of this news update. If you guys enjoyed it, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you're brand new, and a huge welcome if you are, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to be alerted each and every time that I post new videos. Also, my dear Megalorians, if you're feeling generous, please consider checking out my Patreon. On there you get exclusive access to content that's not found here on YouTube. Otherwise, I'm Star Wars Meg, wishing you all a phenomenal rest of the day, no matter where you dwell in the galaxy. Have a good one.